had to take a stand somewhere, for something, because if he did not, he would be exactly like his brother Otto, and all the others like him, pretending that he did not know what was going on, making deals with the darkness so that I would leave him alone, pretending all was right with the world when he knew that it wasn't. Skavenslayer is a 1999 novel by William King, and book 2 in the Gotrek and Felix series, taking place after Trollslayer, which I've reviewed actually almost exactly like a year ago. This one is also a fix-up novel like the first, meaning it's chronological short stories like Fought from the Grey Mouser or The Dying Earth or the first Black Company book, for example, though actually only one of these was published before her collation, so maybe not really. Because of this, though, they feel a bit more cohesive than the first book, the stories actually being more closely linked and following an overarching plot. I guess maybe mosaic novel would be the term we would use today, or something like that. So Skaven's Claw was originally published in 1992, and it starts this book. Our heroes are the same Gotrek Gurnison, a troll slayer looking for death by getting into situations that be suicidal for anyone of lesser ability, but he's pretty godlike in his power, and Felix Jaeger, a human joining Gotrek to chronicle his exploits, and, sadly being dragged into danger with Gotrek. They find themselves in the Elector city of Nuln, which is a pretty typical fantasy city, but they're not in the nice streets. They are actually below in the sewers hunting goblins. Well, Nuln is very Holy Roman Empire, like on the surface level. But anyways, they are sewer jacks, though, in this short story. The only jobs they could find, looking as tattered as they do after their adventures in the first book. They need the money, so they take it. It's definitely not glory. There's no glory in it. But the focus isn't the goblins in the sewer, actually. It's the Skaven. And there are creatures of chaos that are essentially ratmen. And they give they gave an ally and ironically someone in on conspiracies and also in the office as a head of secret police, which is normal, as the Prague Cemetery tells me. But his name is Fritz, which I thought was ironic. Anyways, we're also introduced to Otto, Fritz's brother, and there are some, or rather I should say Felix's brother, and there are some others that come up in certain stories. Alyssa is one that highlights a trope. A guy does a nice thing and helps a woman out from a tough situation, and then often, for some reason, when something like sexual assault or attempted rape is, pushed, that's what it is in this case. As a reward for the nice guy, the woman offers to sleep with him instead. I just think this is weird, and I can't really understand it. If you reverse the roles, such as a woman saving a man and then that man offering to sleep with her, it kind of highlights the oddity, I think, of it. But another neat character is actually Dr. Drexler. Not like most Empire doctors, he doesn't use leeches, for example. He's a bit more modern in a sense. But Skaven are myths to many. They don't take them seriously. Though Skaven do exist, they stay relatively in the shadows so they can, connive and plan. Skaven Blight is their underground capital, and they use warpstone to make impressive technology. They think they are better than every other race in our sort of kind of a silly level of evil, a little comic. Thongqual, the Greyseer, gets a lot of page time, and that's one of my complaints, actually. The villains get more space than our heroes do in this book. We get a good amount of clans and organizations of the race, that can't help but be chaotic evil and fight much amongst themselves. I can say that King always has good hooks for the chapter and story. They don't always keep my interest. I just find myself, with the first book and with this one, that it's just kind of boring for a good chunk of the book. I'm waiting for these to really kick up and to kick it into high gear, give me, blood flowing, like good sword and sorcery, or at least heroic fantasy action. But it just hasn't happened with these first two books. I like the first book in some sense more because of the variety, though in this sense it was nice also to get to know Nuln, but that's where all the stories take place in this one. So I don't know. We'll see how the third book goes. I think the third book's Skavenslayer, which I do have a copy of, so I'll get to it eventually, and maybe it'll be better than these first two. Anyways, Liam from Liam's Lyceum.